Welcome, welcome. Hello to all of our replay viewers who are going to be watching this shortly. Okay, we'll give folks just a minute. If you're jumping on the line, please introduce yourself. Hello, Berndero. You got to tell me what your name is because I see you joining. I don't think I can tell. Let's see if I can tell. I'll be fancy. Nope, I can't tell your name. But I'm excited that you're following me. Maybe Bern is your name. Hey there, Val. Welcome, welcome. Okay, I will turn this around now. Hello. Okay, hi. Welcome to our Periscope tonight. Thanks for the hearts. Yay. I gotta change my lighting because it's really bad in my desk chair for some reason. But we have Bernice. Hello, Bernice. Oh, good. Now I know your name. Fantastic. Okay, I'm going to sit over here. I'm actually going to sit on my assistant's desk because she's not here right now because it's pretty late. And you can see some cool artwork we have on our wall. So that one says 1 cup. Here, I'm going to turn around actually. Okay, maybe a little tour. So this says 1 cup of self-love. And this is by, I don't know if you guys know the Dooleys. His brother does Tut. The thoughts from the universe. So that, oh yeah, some of you know. There we go. There they are. So this is Andy. He wrote this for me. Belinda, you are a money magnet. That was Andy Dooley, Mike's brother. Make your smile change the world. Don't let the world change your smile. And he said, Belinda, you totally rock. Andy, I love you too. And you are invincible, capable, and ready. Stay positive and focused. Rock steady. What did Andy write here? Belinda, all your dreams are coming true. Awesome. Hey there, Monica. Welcome. Okay, so that's my inspirational artwork that I happen to have on the wall behind me tonight. So thanks all for joining. Oh, I love the hearts. Welcome, welcome. So we're going to do a little bit of a quick scope here, but I just came off of teaching my Rich Life Mastery. Hey there, Sarah. Oh, yeah. Well, Sarah was actually just on my Rich Life Mastery call. And what our topic is for this month is really about aligning our life and our money with what we value. And so much of the time what I find out from people is that they're actually spending their time and they're spending their precious moments and their precious money not doing the things that they actually believe that they value, mainly because it's all very unconscious. So I want to tell you what the 3 T's are, 3 T's, and have you start to consider, how am I spending those T's in my life? Love the 3 T's idea. Thanks, Sarah. And it's funny because this actually came up originally. I've been on the board of several nonprofits over time. And this had come up when we were really looking at bringing on new board members and new volunteers to help us grow. It was actually a meditation. This particular conversation was my role on the board of a meditation group that was really building in the Boston area. And so what we said was, you know what, we would take volunteers who are willing to support us in one of these 3 T's. And so they are as follows: your time, your treasure, and your talents. Okay, so I'll repeat those. So you need to know your 3 T's are your time, your treasure, and your talents. And then really looking at, how am I spending those 3 T's? And is that really aligning with what I believe I value? And I say I believe because oftentimes there's the conscious what we value, and then there's the unconscious of how we're actually spending our time, our talents, and our treasures. And our treasure, by that we mean our money or our wealth. And so, I'll give you some, for instance, I noticed that there was a time when I thought that I really valued health. Okay, and there was a time when I did, and I had left my job and I was literally spending in the gym from like 9:30 to 11:30 every day. I did 2 workout classes. Sometimes I would even stay longer and do more, and I was really valuing my health, and that's where I was showing up and putting in my time. But then when I ended up getting a job, or at least doing some freelance work, because I was trying, little did I know that my inner me was developing the whole idea of own your money, but the outer me needed to start to earn some income. And so for those of you who are in full-time jobs or even part-time jobs and you want to build your business, a lot of people do that, including me, where I had a gig that paid my expenses so that I could then free my mind to not worry about the desperation of paying my bills and to be able to, just have cash flow. So, anyway, when I went back to work, what I noticed is that I was then so busy with work and I was focused on bringing in the treasure that when it came to where I was spending my time, I had moved health several layers down in my priority level. And when I started to realize this, I said, wait, time out. This isn't actually how I want to be living my life. And I scheduled in, back in being able to go to the gym and to take care of my exercise needs and wants and be able to earn money at the same time. And it didn't have to be an either or. So much of the time we get stuck thinking that it does have to be either or, and we don't provide for the both. And if you keep following me and Own Your Money, you'll notice that I really believe in the both. And I'm not even sure if I introduced myself because it's kind of late. I just taught for an hour and a half, and it's kind of bedtime for me. My kids are in bed, and the 3-month-old will be up early, anywhere from 4 a.m. it seems to 7 a.m. So I need to be bright and shiny, it seems, for her, or at least awake. Anyway, so my name is Belinda Rosenblum, and I run a company called Own Your Money. And at Own Your Money, we really help you to make more money, keep more money, and stress less about your money. And I do this by allowing you to be able to let go of the judgment and the guilt and the shame that you may be holding on to around money, and instead step in this really powerful place where you're creating a sense of financial freedom for yourself and allowing yourself to be joyful and confident with your money. So, a lot more in terms of how I help women and business owners and couples and organizations as we move through future Periscopes. One of the joys that I get to do is to lead this Rich Life Mastery program. If you're interested in it, it's at ownyourmoney.com/rich. We're going to be really opening the doors in a big way in October. But if you want a sneak peek and you want to check it out, then please feel free. And I just have an amazing group of people that I get to lead each week to be creating their best lives and to be able to be stepping out in this big way, knowing that they're fully supported by me and by all of us. Sarah's probably sitting there nodding her head as she watches this. So, yep, and there are the hearts. Awesome. Well, thank you. And so back to our topic tonight. So we were talking about these 3 T's, and I want all of you to think about where are you spending your time, your treasure, and your talent, and does that really align with what you want in your life? Okay, so here's another example for you. So if you say that you really value health, but yet you spend your money on fast food because you're actually saying that, there's a part of you that's actually valuing convenience over money and over health, are you really living intentionally how you want to be when it comes to that alignment? So that's my challenge for you today, is to really look at that alignment, to really start to take different actions, and to move yourself forward in a more powerful way. So as you head into tomorrow, pay attention to where your time is being spent. Pay attention to what you're spending your money on, and pay attention to where you're putting your energy. Sarah, Rich Life Mastery rocks. Well, thank you. We love having you too. And I really just love seeing the growth and the progress that everyone is taking in that group. So fill me in. Oh, thanks for the hearts. I love it. I know when I do Periscopes, I just sit there like holding my finger on it until I feel like I've pressed at least a couple hundred times, and then I give my hand a break. And then I'm probably taking notes on what the person is saying in Periscope. So so that's what I want you to start to do. And we also talked about Tony Robbins' 6 needs and how they play into our lives and our priorities. And so we talked about those needs in terms of the need for certainty, the need for uncertainty, the need for I guess uncertainty is also called variety. Hey there, Daniel. Welcome. Thanks for joining. Let me get back to the 6 human needs. Sorry. Clearly, I'm a little tired. Wow. Let's see. What was this morning? Yeah, this morning was pretty early. So we talked about certainty. We talked about uncertainty. We talk about the 3rd need of significance, and then connection and love, and then growth and contribution. And so most people, without realizing it, end up focusing on significance and certainty, but those are kind of unfulfilling needs that we have. They don't really fill our heart and our soul and our spirit. So instead, as you start to gain awareness on these needs, then you can move to more of a place of growth and contribution and connection, actually learn how to embrace change. Because once you can actually embrace change and embrace what that uncertainty can bring to you, then it just really opens you up to a whole new level of peace in your life when you don't feel like rocked off of your foundation each time there's a change that happens in your life. So, do you guys have any questions about this topic? What are you starting to see about yourself in terms of where you actually spend your time? I mean, I'll tell people, look at, well, first of all, schedule in what's important to you. And I literally have to schedule in breaks. I have to schedule in lunch. I have to schedule in calls that I want to make to people, because it's only when things get scheduled that they have a much better chance of happening. And when they don't get scheduled, then usually something else more urgent ends up popping into that slot. So let me know. Do you have any questions for me tonight? Where do you think that you're spending your 3Ts? What do you feel like your needs are? Just jump on in and share with me. I'd love to hear. And thanks so much for the hearts. I really get excited. It makes me feel like I'm on the right track with you. So please let me know. Add a comment below. Thanks for the hearts. Make sure you're following me if you're not yet. And please swipe this, even if it's the replay, you can still swipe it and share it so people can watch it. If you have an iPhone, you swipe left to right. And can you explain more about balancing the 3Ts? Yeah, certainly. Let me talk about that. And if you want to share it, you can swipe down and hit share. You can share it to your Twitter followers, and you can share it especially on Periscope. Hello, JRM. Welcome for joining tonight. How you balance the 3Ts, certainly. So, those are our resources that we have to work with. And, it's important to be able to look at those 3Ts and to say, okay, if those are my resources, oh, thanks, Valerie, for sharing on Twitter. Those are my resources. How do I be just a lot more intentional about how I want to share them? So that's where our boundaries come into play. That's where I will, if you serve clients, for instance, there are probably some coaches that are watching this, or other service providers. So look at the time that you're spending on servicing clients and then really say, is this, am I getting fairly compensated for this? When I have a coaching client and I know that they have an hour, and then when I go to an hour and 10, I realize that I'm actually not spending my talents in the way that I necessarily want to be, unless they have something that's urgent and we need to help them. It ends up being a place that I just feel like I've let my boundaries slide and I'm not setting the best example for them even. So really the 3Ts are a way to, thanks Valerie for inviting followers too. Thanks to all of you who are sharing and joining as we continue here. So it's really about recognizing you don't really have to balance them, but you kind of harmonize them in your life, because they all exist at any given time. And it's about you being intentional about how you're spending them, right? Because sometimes we may, like, think about charities. That was the context that I had started when I gave you the example. So when you give to a charity, you can give your time, right? And so you can volunteer. I have a friend who volunteers at like a furniture depot where they help get furniture to people in need, right? So she volunteers her time. Then there are charities where, and like my husband's a good example. So he runs for the Dana-Farber Marathon Challenge. Okay, so we're going to move on to talent. So he's taught himself essentially how to run, and he has a trainer, and that's the talent that he decides to share, and that's how he gives to the nonprofit, because he has in some ways it's spending time too, but he's not necessarily spending the time working for Dana-Farber or collecting or on a call team or anything like that, but he's running and bringing his running talents to support this organization. And then the third one, in terms of, thanks Sarah, in terms of treasure, we also do give some money to Dana-Farber, and then that's us sharing our wealth with an organization that we really care about. You can read more at runmarkrun.com about his journey and how the marathon has really been an important part of our lives in the process. So that's really how you can harmonize the 3Ts in your life, and how you can really decide what you want to be contributing at any given time, and start to look at how you're living your life, and is it really living by the things that you value. Let me just talk about money real quick here before we wrap up. Excuse me. And so when it comes to money, I mentioned like the fast food example, for instance. But like if you really value living a debt-free life, let's say, right, where you're building your savings and you paid off your debt, then take a look at where the rest of your money is going. Because if you have, let's say, $160 going to your cable bill, you may actually be valuing your time on the couch and watching TV more than you're valuing this debt-free life. So you may say that I want to live like that, but you're actually voting with your dollars differently. So, another way to start to think about it, and I'm going to be teaching more next week, and perhaps I'll come online with another Periscope next week once I have a chance to teach that more. Really exciting stuff that we're doing at Own Your Money. I also have something, I'll give you guys all a sneak peek. I have something coming out very soon, within the next day or two, called the Ditch Your Debt Challenge. It's at ditchyourdebtchallenge.com. That's going to be really good because I'm just getting so passionate about people paying off their debt. I feel like it just holds them back from living the life that they're meant to live. So I want to help all of you just get it paid off. And so I have a free course for 10 days to help you to do that. So we really start to generate more choices in your life.